So, hello everybody. We are back with the panel discussion in our afternoon session. We heard 5 very interesting presentations from some upcoming young and very interesting companies from Baden-Württemberg. And now we have the possibility to discuss a few points more in detail with the presenters. In our panel discussion, I say hi again to Dr. Markus Schiefer from SciMo, Johannes Brodführer from eliso, Dr. Thomas Freudenmann from EDI. On the screen again, Dr. Markus Ihmsen from 52 Technology, and last but not least, Stephan Dengler from ChargeIQ. I would like to start with some starting round. As I said at the beginning, one point of transformation into a new mobility system, of course, is that existing companies have to transform, have to change themselves. But very important, however, of course, it's that we have the basis for founding and establishing new young companies with innovative ideas and business models. And of course, it's always been to a focus in the political point of view to create some sort of startup culture here in Baden-Württemberg. As you all founded a company in Baden-Württemberg, I would be interested if you can share your thoughts. How would you describe the startup culture as you found it in the last years in Germany, especially in Baden-Württemberg? So what were your experiences, the opportunities, the challenges when you just for yourself decide to start with a company? Maybe we start with Dr. Markus Schiefer.
Okay, yeah. I would say for us it was a big advantage just that we came out of the university, of the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology. So we had a lot of things that we could already show to the customers. We already had, or were successful to get some funding from exist funding from BMWI and later on from Baden-Württemberg Junge Innovatoren funding, which is a really good support to start your business, because you are not so, you do not have to deliver like in the first month or so to earn some money. As we have products, I think we scaled up really good so far. Maybe it's a little bit more difficult than in other countries, like in the US or so, to then really get to the larger fundings, or it's a little bit more difficult probably to get to private equity and so things. But on the other hand, had the support from the government and so on is, I would say, quite good.
So just to the other founders, I mean, Thomas, you also founded your company from the KIT as a starting point.
Exactly. So we get a lot of support from the KIT, and before we were starting our company, so I have 2 colleagues. We are as a co-founder. So we are working on a technology transfer project, where the invest was coming from the KIT directly. In this case, we were employees from the KIT, and after that we were starting this project. And I mentioned in my presentation that we have a patented technology. My colleague Dr. El Hadji and I, we are the founders, and we can use it in our company. So that is what the KIT has. One of his pillars is the innovation sector, so they really want to support these young companies. And also this was for us a good starting point. And then we will also have from the PhD, so if you are working in the PhD, we have a really scientific focus. But in this technology transfer project, we were also working with a department from the KIT, which already have the focus on the market, on the business. So you also change your language, you change how you can come to customers. And that was really helpful for us. And also, agree. So sometimes it's hard to get the big invest like in US, to get 1 million to run your company. So even you have a good idea, I think it's hard to find this kind of investors in Germany. We have examples where also these kind of startups are possible in Germany, but it's not so much. But on the other hand, I will really say that in Germany, we have a lot of good also funding programs, and also in Baden-Württemberg especially. So we working in the digitalization, so we want to help also the small SMEs. So in Baden-Württemberg, we call these companies hidden champions. And also for the hidden champions, they get some funding from the government, which they can give to companies, to startups like us, that we can bring the digitalization also for these companies, that the solution happens there. And I think this kind of investment structure, it's also really special in Germany and better in Baden-Württemberg. So also we work together with companies from different states in Germany as well. And we here in Baden-Württemberg, it's much easier to get some kind to invest in the future mobility, but also in the digitalization in general.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe we just pass to Markus Ihmsen. I think you mentioned in your presentation also that the starting point of the company was in this case University of Freiburg. So, what were your experiences founding a company with a university background?
Yeah, that's right. So we are from Freiburg, University of Freiburg. We have received the Exist Forschungstransfer, and actually then that's about it with respect to funding. I would chime in here and say, so getting venture capital is probably a bit harder. We have never gone this route, and even if we would have get a lot of money from venture capital, I think the problem for us would have been to build a sales network, a global sales network. So even if you want to build this on your own, and so a lot of automotive manufacturers, OEMs are in Asia, and also there we need to have a lot of customers in order to win the market share, to grow sustainable. And so I always think if I would have had this money and then go there and had to like have someone in a position to be like the global sales officer or a local sales officer in Asia, I'm not sure if I would be able, coming from the university, to understand and have a good feeling of if this is the right person and if we are on track, especially for a young product which has to prove in the market. I see this. Therefore, we have gone the route with having a sales partner, a strong partner from the industry, where we have a product which this partner needed in order to grow their sales in the software business, and we rely on this network. I think for us this was a very good win-win situation.
Yeah, thank you, Markus. I mean, the other two founders, they followed a little bit a different path. Johannes, you mentioned that you had several stations before. So when was the point where you said, okay, then I decided to start my own business? So what was the motivation then to say you worked for several companies and then to say, okay, now it's the point where I start my own business?
I think the point is where you notice that something is not going well or you can do it better, and that's the point where I decided that I want to start my own business and do things better and be the creator of something. And I was born and raised in Stuttgart, so for me it was never a question to found my company somewhere else. But I've been told, or people told me, you should go to Berlin. Berlin is where all the startups are. But honestly, I would choose Stuttgart again because on the sales side, for example, we have so many industry and companies in Baden-Württemberg that our clients are just in front of our door. So I don't have to search a lot. It's right there. And also we have good universities and good schools. And for myself, I can say I have fantastic employees. And so it was not bad. Maybe Berlin is more fancy and you have other investors.
I found investors in Stuttgart, so I would say it's not impossible. But yeah, maybe they can be a little bit more brave, and they're more conservative, I would say, but not in a bad way. They're reliable, so I think that's something good. I wish they would be a little bit more brave and more brave.
So Stephan Dengler, you also worked at a car company, I think, before. As we had to talk over the first technical problems at the beginning of your presentation, we talked a little bit that your co-founder, he used to work for an IT company. So what was your point saying, okay, now we start our own business?
Exactly the mix we just heard. I also worked for a big OEM in Stuttgart. And I thought, okay, it's not bad here, but I think I can do more of it if I start now something what I'm working for. And I think the area for founding companies right now is pretty good because it's also the exit story we had, and then it's pretty, I don't want to say easy, but it's not that hard to get like an invest by different programs here. And the feedback, especially here with different people from different areas, from IT and automotive area, is extremely good. They're super creative people also working in a ChargeIQ that have pretty good ideas. So I think the output that we gave to different people is like exactly what they want to hear, what they think is or could be the future.
Yeah, so to sum up, thank you very much for sharing these motivations with us. Just to sum up, okay, we have a good economic and university landscape here in Baden-Württemberg. When we as e-mobil Baden-Württemberg, when we discuss with different parts of the state government, there's always the discussion when should the founding and the supporting of young companies should stop. It's okay. You already mentioned there are some supports in the pre-seed phase and the seed phase. So it's always you already mentioned Markus at the beginning. Okay, sometimes a little venture capital could help, but it's not really quite necessary. So there's a lot of discussion in the last year going on. Do we need more venture capitalists in Germany? That's actually not part really of our financing sector till now, or is there other supports, especially in this growing phase that you have as a company? What are your thoughts, your experiences about that? Maybe we start with Markus again.
Yeah, just one founding program that is probably well suited for like a little bit larger larger startups are in the European Union programs. So they are really for scaling up in like 1 to 2 million budgets, numbers. So there are other possibilities. I would agree with you that there has to be some point where you say, okay, it cannot be that it's only funded by public funding and so on. On the other hand, you gain customers, you gain contacts with industry, and then on some point you can stand on your own foot, and then you want to go that way. Yeah. And for really scientific things, when you really there are a lot of other funding instruments really if you want to go then in future ideas and like more. Yeah. Not so much development, more like really trying out new things. Then there are other things that you can rely on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe I already mentioned that from our side it was a really good, I will say also opportunity. No, we not get directly the money from the government. So our customer get the money to enter in new market, in new technology. And the advantage for us was that we have to reflect already as a young company to the market. So we are also a private owned. So from our a group of 3 founders, and we are private owned. But as we start our company, we really get the customer, because they get also the money from Baden-Württemberg, for example, with the digitalization voucher which they have, and then they have the possibility to give it to us. And I think this cooperation, it's really helpful in case that you, as a young company, you already reflect to the market. And I think that's one important thing. Compare also if you have a lot of money available. So we also so if you get a lot of money, but you not really understand the market, then you also not know what you have to do with the money. So I think the good thing also in US, it's not only that you get money, you get also sometimes this kind of business angels, which you also get the advice what you have to do with the money in the right way. But that makes also sometimes hard if you run a company and you have your own idea and you have an investor in your company and you have to do what he wants to do, then maybe you can also stay at the big OEM, and then you have also to follow this kind of rule. So I think this combination that you have to reflect really early at the market, I think that's also a really important point in the invest from the state, because if you invest too much a starting up company, then maybe the reflection in the market, it's not the right way.
So it's not really a business angel, but partnership is a key word. So I would come back to Markus Ihmsen. You described your partnership with AVL. So I understood, as you said before, it's good that you can more or less focus on the technology, and as a young company, you have not to focus on all the aspects. Can you tell us a little bit more what the advantage of this kind of partnership is?
You phrased it right. Very good, I think. So the 30 people working here, they are mainly focusing on developing the product. We're having a software product which is licensed by the customer on a yearly basis, and AVL is doing first and second level support. So we do only the high level support, and software usually the costs and software usually scale with the sales and the support, right? And so therefore this partnership help us to grow the company, let's say at a reasonable costs, and I think it's a very good model to scale. Also, we have very good context to the market. One thing I like to mention here is what was surprising for me. So in the early days, we were doing sales on our own. Is everyone we talked with said it will be very, very challenging for you to get entering this automotive market, but actually it was not that challenging. I think what is very good, especially here in this area, is that there are many big OEMs, and that they are also very open, I think, to new technologies and to small companies. This I found very, very good. But maybe this is something that about the locality here, and for going international and growing internationally, a partner who has already their departments there and the context to the market and can support the customer in the local language was key for us, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Markus. Just to go on with more partnership, networking is I think very, very useful. Johannes, as I remember, I think one of the first or second time as we talked, and that you told me your idea about Eliso. It's really a few years ago already. I think I remember just say, okay, have a look at our cluster network. There are a lot of different companies in there, a lot of research institutes. Is networking a good thing for a young company, just to broaden the perspective you have on your business idea?
For sure, yeah, that helps a lot. And joining e-mobil BW was a big step for us, so thank you again. And it was good to have partners and also clients. So we made at e-mobil BW, we have partners and customers and clients, and so that was for us was a good move. I think networking is always important, and it's never bad, but it does not make your sales. So you still have to do normal sales and normal sales process. So I think organizations like e-mobil BW help a lot in the beginning and later on. That it doesn't get less important. But I think when you're very in the beginning and you're trying to find your business model, and I think we already have good programs where you can challenge your idea and find your business model. But as soon as you skip that phase and you ask for subsidies or funding, we made the experience that it was kind of difficult because there was always one requirement that we didn't fulfill, and then it got like annoying that we always applied and never got the funding or the subsidies. So we decided we do our own part. We don't rely on subsidies. We find our funding with investors, and so we did. And that worked well. So I think for beginners or for startups in the early stage, there are very good conditions. In the medium phase, where you are growing to a small business, there could be a little bit more subsidies, more funding. And then later on, money helps. It might sound simple, but money helps. And if you want to grow a company really big, I think there are investors in Baden-Württemberg, in Stuttgart, and they're good, but there could be more. And it could be more attractive for them to invest.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would come to Stephan. And again about this thing, as Johannes described, networking, partnership, maybe customers. I mean, as you just explained the idea of ChargeIQ. So you saw a certain deficit in the whole field of charging infrastructure, but of course there are on the whole field of charging infrastructure there are a lot of major actors. I always discussed it at the beginning with Johannes too. So how is it to is it difficult to really identify just the way to come into this like a growing market?
I think it's not only competitive, it's only cooperative. I think with Johannes we had a talk like 3 years ago at your office. But it was really big, now it's really small, I guess. And that's like the thing that's worth a lot, because people are open to others. They like to talk about ideas. They think, okay, there might be a business opportunity. Also talking with you or with Business Angel, with accelerators. I think you can have the help if you want to. And people here, especially here, they're all the time like, they're open to your ideas and to have a conversation with you.
So actually, we are on the way to my next question, but I really, I don't know if you can answer it fully, because we have to keep, of course, a little bit of secret. But really, what is what are the ingredients of the recipe, or to start a successful startup and to transform the successful startup really into a running company? Because at some stage, of course, you let the startup behind you, and I mean you already said money helps, but what are really the ingredients? Of course, you start growing. You need you need good people working for you, and you need organizational advice and things like we already discussed a lot of points. But what are the main ingredients you would suggest, Stephan?
It's interesting asking the youngster first. So I think it's worth a lot to talk to other founders, to have a conversation with them, to see what's working and what's not working. And especially in like this special networks in Stuttgart we have, there's also a lot of conversation with these founders, which helps especially me a lot to see what could be a failure and what's pretty worth to be done.
Maybe Markus, Ihmsen. It's very. I know from the other side, it's very difficult to follow a discussion where everybody is in one room and you are the only on the screen. So.
I'm sorry for that.
No, it's great that you joined us anyway. So.
No, I'm following. Thank you. I think team is very important. I think it was mentioned by the others also in their talks, and they highlighted their team. I didn't in my presentation, but I'm very happy and lucky with the great individuals that are working here, and so I think at the beginning, you need to convince the team about your vision, and they need to buy in this vision and work for your company with you in this team, even though maybe other bigger companies are on the paper more attractive. And persistence, resilience, I think is very important. Not to learn that success is not a straight line. There will be ups and downs, and you need this belief in what the others also said, that you can do something better, or that there is some chance that you can do as a small company much better than a big company because you have more focus. And then you need luck at the end, I think.
Thomas?
Yeah, so what I can say, and also that is so last year with Corona, so I think for everybody it was not so easy, but we were a little bit lucky because we were really established also our working process before Corona appears, and then for us also this home office stuff was not such a big problem. So everybody knows that we are making software, so we follow Scrum, but we really establish also the processes. We have our teams now ready. We have all these meetings which you need, and we established this before Corona was coming. So then we could also go in the home office. But I think the team is important, and we are growing. And if you start with 3 founders and everybody have somehow the same ideas, then you can push really fast your first product, and you can also show that it works. But if you have 23 people, then everybody have to understand what you want to do. So that's really hard to communicate also this message and this information to the whole team. And I think that is one of the challenge which everybody have to face in the growing phase, that everybody follows the idea, and also that you have at the end, you need a robust product, because in the beginning, everybody knows you are a startup, but also the expectation of your customer change if they are seeing that you are older, that you are bigger, that they want to have from your product. And also this, I think that goes hand in hand with establish some kind of more processes, then you also get this robust product. And that is what we also face in last year, and that is also for us really, I think that's an important step for all the teams if you are growing. These steps, so I already hear, so if you go over 50 employees, if you go over 100, it comes again and again, because you get new lines in your companies where you have to handle somehow with your processes as well.
Yeah, I kind of understand that. I mean, e-mobil BW was founded more than 10 years ago. Last year here we celebrated our 10th anniversary, and we started with a very few people, and now we reached the magical border of 30 people in the team as well. So you need to, as you described, it was a good description. You need to define processes and everything. Johannes, money helps. Okay, I remember that. But from your perspective, you already told us a lot. But the main ingredients.
First, you need to have a good idea. I think that's the start, and then you need money. Money helps. That's true. But both are not the most important ingredients. I believe it's team, timing, and execution. So those are the factors that make it a winning or failing. And so for us, all we achieved only because our fantastic team. So I wouldn't have done it by myself. So all the progress relies on a great team. And timing, you have to be on the right time in the market. You can be too early or you can be too late. So timing is, I think, another factor, and execution. So you can have the biggest plans, you can have a good idea team, but if you don't execute in the right way, and that's what you also mentioned, you have to adjust the execution to a small startup with 4 people or 20, 50, 100 people. So being able to adjust and execute in the right way, I think that is a really important factor on being a successful company or not.
Markus?
Yeah, many things have been said, but I would say at the beginning, you have an idea or a product, depends. At the end, you need a product and customers that pay for that product. And if you're selling products or services, depending on your business model, and you earn money with that, then you're on your own steps at one point. And the beginning to go in the market, it is difficult to know what your customers want. In our case, for the motors, our first customers were really big companies. And it was more like research development thing. Now we are going more, as we grow up, more into like medium or smaller sized companies, and they're much more conservative, or they have some expectations, and then you have to fulfill all those expectations or like specifications. And it again makes a lot of work. And at the beginning, you need a certain money, funding, a certain amount of resources to really get over this first step, to really meet that expectations for the first customers. But then I would say that the customer can also pull you if they request what you have, then everything is working fine. At the moment, I would say in the Corona crisis, we see that a lot of smaller companies, they are really limited in spending or like in investments, because everybody's like a little bit careful, and that. Like if you have a really special product like we have, we somehow see that there's like less, it's a little bit more difficult than it was like before Corona crisis.
Thank you. As I did in the morning session, I mean we have an upcoming new government in the state of Baden-Württemberg. We will have elections on the federal level in autumn. So it's not Christmas time yet, but you as young entrepreneurs, if you had one wish free to the state, what would help? Maybe the wish is just stay out of our way. We are managing it for ourselves. But is there one point where you really think this would help if the state would act like this? Stephan?
Yeah, sure. There's one wish. I recently talked to our Prime Minister, Winfried Kretschmann, and I said this wish, and I said it's the EEG that stops us.
Okay.
And that's my wish, just stop the EEG.
Maybe we can back to Markus Ihmsen for your wish.
Good question. Never thought about it, actually, what the bottleneck is from government side on us. I think, coming back, I thought in the beginning, in the early years, it was quite difficult. Liquidity was a problem, and then like taxes. Maybe they can support younger companies better, therefore, but this is not like fully thought through on my end.
Other wishes or?
So I have a wish. So I know that data security and privacy is really important, but I think we need a change in looking to these things. So we saw it with the Corona application. I think the Corona application, it's really privacy, but if it's also safe in our time, I'm not sure. I think there could be better solutions. And I mentioned our project Rely Risk Estimation with the Learning AI. We have a test field in Karlsruhe, and here it's not allowed to have high resolution cameras on a cross section to train algorithm how pedestrian behaves if they are crossing the streets, and we not want to know who is this pedestrian. We just want to generalize and finding out how we can make our systems better. And I think there are also involved research institutes with Fraunhofer and all these things, and it's not possible to work with this kind of data based on the privacy. And I think there is a change in the perspective is needed, so that if you agree that you are working in the best way, that you work so that the privacy is kept and all the security of the data is kept, then I think it should be possible that this kind of data are available. And I think that would be, for me, a really big step in different projects to open the mind and looking to data and privacy, what we need in the product so that we have a safe product, for example, also with the Corona application.
Mm-hmm. Johannes, you are in charging infrastructure as well as ChargeIQ. So is it more or less the same wish, or is data really an issue in your work?
Data is an issue, and I actually do not agree to that wish. I mean, I know that law, and sometimes it helps not, but that would not be a wish for me. I do actually not rely on politics or do want to blame the system. I encourage everybody, just follow your path, believe in your idea and fight the obstacles, and that is actually the way to go, because politics can change and your business should not rely on politics. So that is my opinion. If you want to do something, I think you should encourage young people to found a company, and that could be with like support in a consulting way or in a financially tax-wise, so that it's not a big risk for young people to start a company. That could be something, and there are different actions to do.
Markus, you are more really like developing electric motors.
Yeah, but I mainly have to join those wishes. So I cannot add one really. So I would say that the government itself, in the whole thing makes a good job on that. So there are a lot of instruments that you can use as a startup. There may be some more general wishes, but this is more for like general economics or like maybe a culture thing or so. But at the end, you have to be on your own feet at one point, and then this should work. And
I'm not sure if I remember right, but I think one or two of you mentioned always, one thing that politics is often thinking of, and what are your experiences with all kind of accelerators, hubs and spaces where different startups and other companies can work together? Is that an interesting approach, or is it really like Johannes said, just follow your path? Don't care about the others.
I think what I said. So I didn't really believe or rely on those programs. They're good for some. We didn't participate in any of these programs, and we made it very far. So I think it's good for some, and some that need it, they should do it, and for the others, they can go their own way.
I think with the hub, so especially if we talk about digitalization and AI, what we are doing in our company, there are so many to find where you always have to be member and such things. It's also for us hard, and also for our customer, which are using or which they want to have a product which is made with AI. It's really hard to find the right cluster and these things. And I think sometimes if you have too much, then so I think it's also costs a lot of money to have these organizations. But then if it's out too much, then also the people lose the focus. So I think. So as e-mobility, I'm really happy also because this is an organization which is really helpful. So also we have a lot of contacts there, and we get also new customer. We get also big projects based on a coffee break at e-mobility meeting. So that's really important and helpful. And this is why I also think that this kind of cluster and organizations are helpful. But also to have a focus also from the government side, it's I think really important. And to found too much this kind of organization, I think the effect is bad in the case that the people lose the focus.
To be honest, this is a discussion we really often have within the cluster management or with some partners which are very long and very long years in a part of the cluster. It's always, of course, we really like having startups in the cluster and developing, but it's always the advice for them, just use the offers that this network has, which are really useful for you, and focus on your idea and do not try to participate in everything. So what are other experiences?
Yeah, I don't agree that much, to be honest, because we took part in 2 accelerators and now we are in a 3rd accelerator, and it gives you contact to really experts in their special branches, and it helps you to sharpen your product, to take the customer view, and to give you a view from different sides, for example, your IP or your finance. And at ChargeIQ, I'm responsible for the economical parts, and I studied this, but I'm not really confident with some special things I have to do every day, and that's where those accelerators helped me a lot. And I think especially for really young startups, for groups that are just forming, it's worth a lot.
Markus, has 52 been part of an accelerator or something like that?
No. I have no experience in that. As I said, so we have, we had this exist Forschungstransfer, and this was great. And from there on, we focused on our path. As Johannes said, I can second his experience, but I also can imagine that there are other routes which work. I think this is more an individual thing, and I'm happy that they are there. But for us, this was our way until now.
The other Markus, SciMo.
Yeah, so many accelerators like I saw them, so we also did not really join one of the external accelerators. I think sometimes they are more in that idea phase, so generating an idea, looking if it could succeed on the market in that step. So I think we started behind that, so we had a really detailed product or a view of an idea of a product that we want to bring on the market. What I sometimes find interesting also, I do not have a total solution for that, but sometimes I think that it would be interesting if you have on the one hand those more traditional small companies that are good in production and all those things, but not so much in generating new technology and so on. And you have the startups with really new technology that also really, maybe want to focus on that technology. And sometimes I think if there would be a good way to bring those worlds together, I think that may be some interesting thing. And maybe the government could support us. On the other hand, e-mobil is something like this because it brings companies together.
Yeah, actually, this was a discussion we had always because someday some of our ministries said you have to take care more of startups, and we said okay, we are doing it anyway. We care about interesting companies, no matter how old they are. Before we come to the final round, I would like, we already mentioned that once or twice, but I would be interested what your experiences, I mean, especially the COVID crisis was really heavy for all companies, but I can imagine that as a growing company, just starting your business, what were your experiences in the last year? Thomas, you already mentioned a little bit.
Yeah, so I will say for us it was also helpful because we could bring our product more aligned. So we also get we get also in the beginning trouble. So some customers they also closed because of Kurzarbeit. So it was also these projects were still standing, but we already know what we have to do that we get better out of this crisis. Okay. And so it was not the problem of workload what we had in this year. So we could also push our product in the last year. That was also helpful in this case. But for sure, I can also say, so in the beginning where nobody exactly know how everything works, so also some support from the government was helpful in the beginning. So we also were starting 2 months with Kurzarbeit, not full, but so that we also get a little bit I will say, brief to look how everything goes. But then we get also some new projects during the crisis. So then we could stop after 2 months with these things, and then it was helpful. Yeah. So also I can say for us it was really also the reaction was really fast. So we hear a lot of critical things, but also I think everybody have to understand that suddenly 90% of all the companies are looking how everything works. So nobody knows exactly in March 2019, 2020, sorry. Yeah. Nobody knows exactly what happens next, and that was for us what was the government was reacting really fast in our case. So it was helpful with this first possibility, so that we get a little bit more relaxed, and then we could also use the time to increase the quality and our product in the right way. So that was a good thing from this last year.
So Johannes, I remember, I think last year in May or something like that, we spoke on the phone. There were the first 3 months of facing the COVID crisis. What were your experiences the last year?
Well, I think in March it was kind of shocking and a surprise. I think we adjusted very fast, and that was good. We also have been using Kurzarbeit 50% for some weeks, but also we have been colleagues in using. Our colleagues are in Germany all over the place, so we have been used to remote work before. So it was just within a day we've been able to just continue working. Our customers partly were also like holding their money back, which I cannot actually understand. But overall, looking back now, 1 year, we made it pretty good. And I think, as you said, the government support was fast and good. So I think for my company and that industry, we actually we survived that phase very good, and the outlook is pretty good. So all the projects that have been postponed last year, they will come this year, hopefully. So,
Markus, for SciMo.
Yeah, when we look back at last year, also thanks to the funding that we have, we made huge steps in our automating of our winding technology, which is really a good step. And so we had no Kurzarbeit last year, which is we are quite proud of. But at the moment we have two kind of businesses, like more the research and development, they're looking for what is possible with electric machines for new applications, and the more traditional applications. And at the end, in both, there is you see a lot of requests for those products, but not so many contracts like you have normally, or like we are used to before. So the smaller companies or more traditional businesses, they really are not sure where it is going, and they have an overall. Also, their customers are probably like not buying so much, and also for the research. In some areas, it's really good, but in some areas, research was really cut off because some markets really declined massively.
So, Markus in Freiburg, for you, the last year, your experiences.
Okay, for us it was, I think, one of the most challenging years, but also the most successful one. We had also no Kurzarbeit, so we were working 100%. Challenging it was because of switching completely to remote work and growing the company by 8 people was, and coming to this, you said before, like to this threshold number where it anyhow gets a bit more difficult and you need to install processes. Doing this at the same time with this uncertainty in place for the industry we are serving was challenging. But at the end, I think everything went quite well. As I said, we had the most successful year revenue-wise, but this is was also planned because we are in the growth phase. And I think we are on the chance side of the business, because the OEMs need to develop more cost effectively, be innovative, find new solutions at lower costs, and therefore we promise to have a tool.
Thank you, Stephan, the last in the round.
Last year was our first year, so it was the new normal for us. We worked like a few months together with a team of 5 or 6 people, and then we grew, and now it's like totally normal. That's remote only. So we sometimes meet to do some testing or quality, but it's not that big. That's not a big problem to work completely remote for us.
Yeah, just looking to the time frame, I think we have to skip the final round. It was really interesting talking to you. I would have liked to continue, but we have to do this on another occasion. So I thank you very much to Dr. Markus Schiefer from SciMo, Johannes Brodführer from eliso, Thomas Freudenmann from EDI, Markus Ihmsen from 52 Technology, and Stephan Dengler from ChargeIQ. So I wish you all the possible success with your companies. We are really happy to have you in our network. We see just at another time. So thank you for joining us, for your interesting presentations.